Hi guys. Hi. Hello my loves. Hi. Oh, this is fun. Hi. Hello, Andrea. What does that say? First time, but with Jocelyn. Yay! This is fun. Hello. Hi, Sarah. Long time listener, first time caller. Mate, you've been calling way more than once. Hi. So I'm just gonna wait a tiny bit until everyone joins. I'm not sure how many people. It's pretty windy actually outside. Hi. Hello, my loves. Hi. Hey, Mel, from your bedroom. Hi. Hello. Oh, this is nice. Hello, my loves. I know we've got a few more joining, so I will just wait a little bit more. Hi. I'm excited too. Horizontal support, excellent. Hi. Thanks for coming. So we've got a few more hopping on. Hi. Hi, my loves. Hi. Hey, Lucy. Did you get Dylan's photo? He's ready. I haven't yet. I can't wait. I can't wait. Hi, my loves. Did you walk past your place? This is awkward. Come on in. We're allowed 5 people now. Oh, thanks. Get in plaits today. It's a bit windy, so just so the wind. I got my fringe cut as well, so it didn't like flutter in my eyeballs. Hi everyone. Oh, bless you. Thanks, Joss. Hi. So usually I wait about 3 to 5 minutes until everyone joins. I know that half of the people are going to can't make it tonight, but are going to be watching it, rocking it, sister, bless you. I'm going to be watching the tutorial a little bit later, which will be tops. So it's available on the website www.mudbyronbay.com for free, obviously. You can do it at 3 a.m. if you want to. I don't mind. Hi. Hello, my loves. Whilst you're waiting, have a drink. I've got my boob mug. Hi. How cute. This was made in the first isolation tutorial. Bit of fun. The boob mug tutorial is up on the website. Pretty easy to make your own boob mug. Hi, my darlings. Hello. I love your braids. Thanks. Did them myself. Hi. I reckon we'll get started if you've got your drink, if you've got your cheese, and we'll just make sure that you've got everything else as well. So you're going to need your mud, obviously. So hopefully you've got that. And you do want to keep your wrapping for your mud ball. You might have got some mud locally, in which case you are going to still need a little bit of wrapping. One integral part of what we're actually going to be making today is you're going to need some sort of small bowl. So it can just be like a small soup bowl or something like that. Whatever, it can't be huge. But it's a reference of my head. It's like a little bit wider than my head, and that's what I'm using. And I've actually wrapped my BPA-free plastic around my bowl just so the clay doesn't stick to it, because this is actually going to form the structure of what I'm actually going to be making. You've got your wine and cheese. I'm so over the moon about that. Me too. So yeah, you do want to put that around there. If you don't, it's going to be a bit of a grim situation because you're not going to be able to peel your clay off, and it'll be a really sad time for everyone. For me too. I'll be devastated for you. So you do want that, super important. You also want your scoring tool. So if you don't have one of these guys, you just want to grab yourself a knife. That's no worries. Hello, my loves. Yeah, just grab yourself a knife, not a prob. And we're also going to be using this guy a fair bit today. So you can see the curved edge here. That kind of mimics a spoon. So if you haven't got the set, don't worry about it. Just grab yourself like a little spoon. That's going to be primo. You might want to use a little bit of this guy. Hi. You might want to use a little bit of this guy sometimes just for trimming, but honestly, you're probably not going to need it. You are going to need one of these. If you don't have one, don't worry. You can just use your wine bottle. You can use anything cylindrical. You can use a jar. You're only going to need it once, and this is just for the base of your holy bowl that you're going to be making today. Hi. Oh, Ida. Hi. I love you. Ida didn't get her mud in time. Devastating. You're also going to need, as per usual, just a little bowl. Just so you can actually make your glue. We are going to be making, it's called a slip. It's basically just more wet mud. We've got a question. Do you take card? I might quickly pick up clay and watch when I get home. Is that possible? Super keen. Yeah, babe, come over. Just grab your clay and pay for it after. It's right next to me. It'll be meters away, so we'll, be COVID safe. But yeah, come over. You know where I am. Grab your ball, rush back home, set your station up, and just pay for it after. No worries. So cute. All right. So what else are we going to need? Yes, I was saying you're going to need just a tiny dish for your glue. I'll show you how to make that in a tick if you haven't tuned in before. You might want to use just a cloth for your base so you don't get any clay on your table. No worries, that's fine. It is going to wick a bit of moisture away from your clay, so you are also going to want just the tiniest bit of water. No worries, love. Just the tiniest bit of water. You don't have to have a spray bottle like me, but if you just have a little dish of water, that's going to be perfect. Just a small one, just so we can rehydrate our clay. But you certainly don't want it to get too wet, especially for what we're trying to make today, because we need it to have the clay to have a bit of, be a little bit solid and have a bit of structure for what we're actually trying to do. Hi guys. And I mean this, let me show you what we're actually going to be making. How cute. You can, holy bowls, how good. You can put, all sorts in here. Anything that's not going to fall out, I suppose, like a lemon. You can put a couple of lemons, avocados, just nothing that's going to, actually fall out. But they just look really quite cool. So this actually has reduced 20% in size. This is Alicia's, by the way. She did such a good job. This is a photographer of mud, but also student of mud. She did Alicia Tinsley. She's amazing. She made this, and this is inspired, this whole workshop is inspired by what she has made, because I just think it's the absolute cutest in the world. But that was actually based off of this little wooden bowl here. So it's reduced just probably about 10 to 20% in size. So just remember that with what you're making. Now the reason we can't do like a huge one today is because you do just have your one bit of mud. So we are going to be using quite a bit of this today because we don't want to be rolling out really skinny, what are we going to call them? Sausages? Well, I guess the technical term is coils, but I'm going to say sausages because it's funnier. So when we're rolling out sausages, you can see that there's a thickness to all of these. And we need that because otherwise it's going to collapse in on itself when we remove the bowl tomorrow. So there are going to be two parts of this. One is what we're doing together as a family right now. And the next is going to be tomorrow morning or tomorrow when you're actually removing your creation from the bowl. One really important thing is you don't want your bowl to be curving in like this, because then you're not actually going to be able to remove it from your shape. You want to have your bowl easily removable from your shape. So just keep that in mind. Hi everyone. Hi. Also, if you're not listening to your MUD Fridays or Isolation playlist on Spotify, it's MUD.clayplay on Spotify. I mean, get on it. It's great. It's so good. I think you're going to love it. That's really all we're going to need today. So we are going to get started now. A couple of us are here. Still not everyone's here, but that's okay. People will jump on later. So what we're going to do, step one, can I just have a thumbs up for people that actually have their bowl and have covered their bowl with their recycled BPA-free plastic from their bowl? Just give me a thumbs up, one of these ones. Because I don't want to skip ahead, you know? You to miss a very important part. Awesome. Thanks, Ash. Awesome. Sweet. Love your work. Hello, my love. Hello, Molly. Great. You're the best. Great. Thanks, Rachie. And Dylan. Hi, darling. So I think a few people are still getting their bits and pieces, which is absolutely fine. How are people going? Perfect, my love. How are people going in isolation? I think everything's going to be opening up again soon. And that means we can do the MUD Fridays face-to-face again soon, which is going to be the best. Can't wait. Okay, so as I mentioned, first things first, we're going to be putting our plastic around our compostable plastic around our bowl. So if everyone's got their bowl, they've unwrapped their ball and they've popped their plastic around that. That's step one. I can just anticipate tomorrow people messaging me saying that they can't get their clay off of their bowl. So hence me stating it a million times. And now what we're going to be doing is just rip like a little bit of clay. So this is probably, I don't know, let's say 1/6 of my ball. What you want to do as well is you kind of want to, if you have like a damp cloth, you want to cover your ball so that it is not getting dry, because it's going to dry out really quite, hi everyone, it's going to, oh Jane, hi, it's going to dry out really quite quickly, especially for me because I'm outside at the moment with this like light from Bunnings beaming in my eyeballs. But it will dry out really quickly. If it dries out, all you're going to want to do is just pop the tiniest bit of water on it, but again, not too much, or you're going to make your clay too wet to actually work with. Hi everyone. So again, I've just got a small amount of clay here. This is going to actually build my base, which is just this circle here. So that's the first component of this, and that's probably about a little over 1/2 centimetre in width. You do want it to have a little bit of width. Hi everyone. You do want it to have a little bit of width because this is actually probably the hardest thing that we've made in isolation so far. It's a little bit technical. I'm going to take you through it step by step, but you do want a little bit of thickness on your base for when you're actually trying to pull that off of your bowl. Hi everyone. So just kind of get into it. Just smack it down a little bit and grab your rolling pin or whatever you've got that's cylindrical, and once again start in the middle. So I might be repeating myself a little bit because some people have done this before and others haven't, but you want to start in the middle and you just want to put a little bit of weight in it, but you do want to just be really doing it in the middle of this. If I start to, hi everyone, if I start to roll it out on the sides, then I'm going to get quite an uneven bit of clay, which is not ideal. I want it to be the same thickness all the way through, as best it can be anyway. So I'm going to turn that around. You can use just a wooden board as well, that's fine. We are actually going to need a wooden board that's going to be really important, or just a chopping board for you to flip your shape around. So that's going to be important for tomorrow, but I'll chat about that in a little bit. So we're just going to be rolling this out into a circle to make our base. Once again, this is our base here. Got a question. Hi there, I was given one of your lovely kits for Mother's Day. Do you have any videos of previous live sessions? I absolutely do. They're on the website. So if you go onto the Instagram and you click the link, that'll take you to the toolkit section, but you can actually go into the tutorial section, which has all of the live tutorials uploaded there. You can do it whenever you want to. What a cute Mother's Day gift. Bless your children. Okay, and if you have any questions throughout this session as well, please interact with me, write things, and I absolutely love it when people share what they've made, tag me in whatever, or just if you feel too overwhelmed to do that and share it on the social medias, just like send it to me, because I love seeing what you've made. I think it's the absolute cutest. So you can see here, no worries lovely, you can see here the thickness that I've actually made my base, and now I want to cut my circle to the size that I actually want it for the bottom of my shape. You may have more of a, hi loves, you may have more of a rounded bowl, that's fine. You just want to figure out how big you want your circle. There's no real trick to that. It's just going to be based on the size of your bowl. So to cut, you might be using your knife, or you might be using this tool here. Can you use air dry clay to make this? Yeah, you can use air dry clay, but you can't let the air dry clay, once it's dry, come back into contact with water, because it will absorb the water again and then just get a bit soggy. So you certainly can. I don't tend to work with air dry clay too much myself, but it will become really quite solid. So long as you're following all the steps and using the glue to join, you should be sweet, you should be fine. Okay, so I'm, as you can see, cutting a circle. I'm not tracing anything because I'm just being a bit crazy with it. Who cares? These are wonky shapes that we're making because these are wonky times, you know? So that might even be too big, I don't know. You're gonna have a lot of scraps with what you're doing. I say keep them. If you just pop them to one side, they're gonna dry out super quick. So you might just wanna put like a tiny bit of water on it and then pop it back onto your bowl so that it doesn't dry out, and you can make a cute little incense burner or pinch pot or whatever later on. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that circle. It's wonky, but I don't care that much. I care a bit. I might just go like that. There we go. So for people that have cut out, I love wonky too. I love wonky so much. Everything I make is super wonky. So I just want a thumbs up for people that have actually cut out, rolled out their base and cut out their circle, and also had a sip of whatever they're drinking. You don't have to have alcohol. You can have kombucha, you can have water, I don't care. Just keep hydrated, you know, it's thirsty work. So just a thumbs up, perfect, my love. A thumbs up for when you have actually cut out your circle for your bowl. I'm making a small bowl, is that okay? Of course it is. You can make whatever size bowl you want. This is so fun. You could make a cute little tiny one. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever you want. Just keep in mind how much clay you have in your ball. I made quite a large one of these the other day. It's going to be the best. everything's going to fall out of it, but I don't really care. Hi. All right, so a lot of you have done that. That's perfect. So what you're going to need to do, you can see here, we've got a couple of sharp edges. So these are actually going to accentuate in the kiln. And what I mean by that is they're going to become really sharp. And so you don't want to like cut your fruit or your hands. So what I want you to do is just kind of dip your finger in your water or spray your finger, and you just want to kind of run your finger along the edges of your circle so that you can just soften those edges a little bit. And that is going to create just a really nice, soft edge so that you don't get that real sharpness in the kiln. I love your lives. I love your lives. Thank you so much. I'm so scared to fire my clay in case it's not fully dry. Is there a way to tell? That's a great question. So is there a way to tell when your clay is fully dry? It's really dependent on I need to wet my finger again. That's really dependent on what shape you're making. So for example, if I were making a really, really big pot, for example, hi my love, if I were making a really big pot, then, and it was quite thick, the walls, it's gonna take a lot longer to dry, especially the base. Hi Alex, how are you? Especially the base. So the best way to tell if your shape is actually completely dry and all the moisture has been wicked away from it is just to pick it up, look at the bottom. If there are any, if there's any discoloration, like it goes from light to dark and it's quite cold and a little bit wet, that means that it is still wet. So if you've left your shape and it's quite a small shape for about a week, you should be fine. And when you take it to the kiln, we have a number of kilns listed on the website under kiln locations. That should be by state, I think I've done it, so that you can actually see what is close to you. And you can create a bit of a relationship with your local kilnster, which is a bit cute. So you can kind of continue making things if you like, and go there and fire them. So that's by no means all of the kilns in Australia. So if you know of any more that I don't have, please sling them my way. So can I just have, hi darling, can I just have a thumbs up for people that have done this portion? So as you can see, I've put my circle on top and I've rounded all the edges. Awesome. Great. Yep. So I've rounded all the edges and I've just popped it on my bowl. So now what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be doing the sausages. So the first sausage that we're going to be doing is this really long one here. Awesome. We're going to be doing this really long one here, and then we're going to be joining it at the base of our bowl. So we're going to need a bit of clay to do this one, and it doesn't matter so much if you're doing it in a couple of pieces. If you can, you want to just do it in one piece around the bowl just for the consistency. But before we get into that, we're actually going to be making our mud, so our glue, and we're going to need a little bit of glue because we're actually going to need it for every single join that we're actually doing. And we're likely going to need about 6 or 7 sausages. Whatever you want to do is no worries, but I'm probably going to do 6 because Alicia's done 6, and that's about the size of that bowl. So I'm going to take about this much clay. I'm going to chuck it in my bowl. I'm going to drown it in a little bit of water, and then I'm going to use this guy here to just, it can take a little bit to actually merge the water with the clay, but you know, just keep at it, guys. And also have some cheese, have a drink. These classes tend to go, you know, kind of slow, so everyone can catch up. going to chuck in a bit more water to mine. You want this consistency to be like a toothpaste or a room temperature butter, don't we all? So we'll just take a bit of time to do this. You want enough for all your joins. You don't want to go crazy. You don't need a huge amount, but as you can see, I've got a reasonable amount here. Hi, darling. I've got a reasonable amount here, and I'm just mixing it all in to a toothpaste consistency so that I can use it for all my joins. This is one of the most important parts for this particular bowl, for your wholly impractical sausage bowl, because if we don't have the slip, sometimes you can get away without using slip, but if you don't have the slip, then your bowl is really likely to pull apart, which is going to be the worst, you know. So we're working quite literally with mud, so it's been removed from the ground. So when this dries, it is so delicate. So you want to make so sure that when you're transporting it to the kiln, that you're just being super careful. Like transport it in a towel or in some like bubble wrap or something like that. So we're all good there. Hi guys. I've got my glue done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sausage for around here. So I'm going to need a reasonable amount of clay to do that. And just remember, when you're rolling anything out, if you're pressing down too hard, it's just going to squash the clay. So you want to start in the middle and you kind of want to go out like this. You want to continue that way. So I'm going to move this because I'm going to be creating quite a long coil. All right. Now, I want a reasonable amount of my clay for this. Remember, you want a thickness that's not going to snap super easily. So, I've got, I might even need a bit more clay than that. So, I mean, I'm not very technical, so I can't tell you how many grams or whatever clay, but I've got, you know, I've got a reasonable amount of clay there for me to work with. And I'm just going to do it on my beautiful table that my friend made me. Bless his socks. So I'm just going to start in the middle. I've kind of made it already a bit of a cylinder there, as you can see. Oh, I forgot this on Whisper. Oh, my love, we're making holy bowls. How cute. Isn't it the best? All right, so now I'm going to be starting in the middle and I'm just going to gently roll out. So this might even be too much clay, I don't know. It's hard to say, you know? Even when you've been doing it for a while, it's always hard to say. So I'm just going to gently, I'm not going to press too hard. If I press too hard once again, I'm actually going to just be squashing the clay and I'm not going to get a good cylinder. Hi, my loves. Hi. So I'm just going to keep going and eventually it's going to become, and I'm just tapping it here because I have actually pressed too hard. So again, I'm going to make it a bit more of a cylinder. So this is going to take a little while for us to actually get the size that we want. Ooh, it's getting a bit floppy. Yeah, it's going to take me a bit because once again, I'll put that there. That's what we're making. So we want, let me test, I don't know how big your bowls are, but let me have a look. This is probably, this coil was originally probably at least 2 centimeters diameter, so 2 centimeters thick. We want to make sure that we're thick enough but not too thick, and we want to make sure we don't have any air bubbles. And us actually rolling this clay out the way we are now is going to remove a fair few air bubbles. because like I've told some of you guys who have been here, I'm putting a bit of water on my clay at the moment, not too much, but my clay's a little bit dry, so just making sure that I don't want to go too crazy on the water, or that's going to actually be damaging to the result. So as I said, we need a little bit of, we need our clay to be a little bit solid for what we're trying to achieve with this particular shape. Hi everyone. Okay, 2 centimeters, not very thick. It's not super thick. You can do it thicker than that, Anriel. It's not a worry. You can do it thicker than that, but this one here is about 2 centimeters diameter, but you can do it thicker. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. So my bit of clay here is actually quite giant. So I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to use this bit for one of the other cylinders that I am going to make. So this is the harder part. Okay. So we want, just keep a bit of a check on what's happening with your cylinder. I've got so much hair in my mouth at the moment. On what's happening with your cylinder, so you can make sure that it's actually quite even. So mine, I mean, I'm getting there, it's getting lengthened, but it's still not going to be long enough yet to go around my bowl. So you can always check once you feel that your coil is long enough to go around your bowl, just check it out. And if it's not, just kind of continue. So you might actually be getting what I'm getting, which is some little creases in here. That's fine, don't worry about it. Just kind of smooth them over a little bit and continue. And we can remove those as well. We can remove them when we're popping it all together by using a little bit of water and our fingers. I don't know, maybe that's enough. No, probably not yet. Alrighty. Hi guys. So, mine might be long enough, I'm not sure. Let me check. So I'm actually putting once again, I'm putting my board down here. It's really important that I am using a board to help me at the moment, so that when tomorrow morning, when I'm doing the last part of the joining of this, when it's solidified a bit more, I can actually flip it properly without breaking it. So let me check. Oh, so close. Just a little bit more and then I'm there. When you have made your coil, can you just give me a thumbs up, please? Also, don't forget don't neglect your drink. What are you guys drinking? I'm having what am I having? Oh, just a standard Pacific Ale, Stone and Wood. Hi guys. We're just building coils at the moment, making bowls, making one of these bowls. It's going to be the best. So as I said, give me a thumbs up when you have made your coil and you're happy with its size, because then we're actually going to be joining it. Beeries. Hi. Tuna Granny's in. Course you are, mate. Knew it. Knew it. We knew this was going to happen. Awesome. You're so efficient, my love. Okay, so I feel maybe perhaps I'm ready. If this breaks apart, you can stick it back together. So you can see mine's quite long. That's how I want it to be. Awesome. Very nice, very nice. Let me see if that, yep, I'm all good. So I've actually overshot it. So you can see here that I have created my coil to, it's probably about the same as Alicia's, to the thickness. I'll put this here for a limited time only probably, because I'll probably smash it and then she'll get desperately upset with me. I'm using this guy, or you can use your knife to cut. So you can see I've made this a little bit too big. So I don't want to cut it too short. I'm going to need to cut this to exactly the length that I can actually join it properly. So we're going to be scoring both of the edges, and I'll show you how to score in just a tick. So I'm going to cut that there. Groovy. Perfect. Amazing. So I can easily lift this off of my bowl. You want to make sure for you guys that you're actually going to be able to easily lift this shape off of your bowl. Super important. Otherwise, it's going to get quite stuck. So I'm going to make sure mine is out enough. Now to score, whenever you're joining anything, so if I'm joining this to this, I'm scoring both of the edges there. If I am joining a boob to a mug, I'm going to be scoring both surfaces. If I'm going to be joining especially handles, you want to make both surfaces porous so that they actually join. Otherwise, there are two flat surfaces that are drying and they're just basically going to pull apart either before the kiln or in the kiln. Highly likely they'll do that. If you make them porous, you're locking them together and you're making that even more, high.
Sorry, sure. Come after.
Sorry guys, 1 second. What's that?
The clay.
Oh, yep, just there.
Here?
Yep. Just grab what you need.
Alright, just one of these?
Yep.
Legend.
Yeah, no worries, that's fine.
Yeah.
Bye. Sorry, someone was just grabbing some clay. Not sure what was going on there for a second. And Buddy's going off now. So, as I was saying, you want to make both of the edges porous. So we're going to be doing a little cross hatch here. If you can see, I'm just going to go like this. What I mean by cross hatch is I'm just doing that one way and then that another way, and I'm doing it with both edges here. Just like that. And then I'm using my glue or my butter, my mud. I'm not using too much. I only need the tiniest bit, and I'm just popping a little bit like that. I know, how funny. I had no idea what was happening just then. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to join these two, if you can see what I'm doing, these two parts. I'm actually using a little bit of force to press those together. And then I'm using this little guy here, or you can use your spoon if you don't have one of these. So I am using this to actually pull the mud across to join it properly. I'm pulling that across so I can join that properly. I really want to have a pretty firm join on that, otherwise it's just going to pull apart. Now obviously I can't join underneath it. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. So once this has solidified a little bit, once you've brought it inside, you may already be inside, probably are, you're going to join it tomorrow. So that's when I'll tell you later the steps and what you need to do. But right now we're just going to be joining the parts that are visual to us at the moment. And obviously that's a little bit scrappy. So you can see there that it's not quite perfect. I can just use my finger just to kind of smooth that out like that. And then as you can see, I've got my top of my bowl. Amazing. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make 6 or 7 sausages, tiny penises, to join to the base, to this base here. And what you want to make sure that you're doing when you're measuring out your little coils here is you not only want them to be the length from here to here, but you want a little bit more so that you can actually fold it over here for your joining. So you just want it to be ever so slightly longer, tiny bit, so that you can actually join it properly here. That's really important as well, and here. That's really important as well, because if it's too short, it's likely going to once again just split open. So my coil keeps breaking. Okay, if your coil keeps breaking, that's absolutely fine. Can you just let me know if it's quite wet? Or if it's quite dry, because it's likely one or the other. If it's quite wet, I just want you to grab a cloth like this, and I want you to kind of draw a little bit of moisture out of your coil. If it's quite dry, I want you to just grab your hand, spray a little bit of water on it, maybe a little bit of water on your coil, and then you can start joining it. As I mentioned before, if your coil breaks a couple of times around here, that's okay. You just want to use that joining method that I showed you just then, with just scoring those little bits that are splitting, using a little bit of your glue, your slip, and using this guy or your spoon, and then just joining that back together. But this is why, really important, we don't want, like you can see this, that's really relatively solid. It's still moist. What a funny word. It's still moist, but it's not completely wet. If clay is completely wet, it's just so hard to work with, a little bit too hard to work with, especially with what we're trying to achieve now. Okay, so now what we want to do, I'm going to take that, I'm going to pop it to one side, and I'm going to roll out another coil that is the same thickness, or at least a similar thickness to this one here. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm cutting each of the coils, 6 or 7, exactly the same length, just so that I can start joining them. So we're 6:43 at the moment. We may finish this one within the hour, but if we don't, that's absolutely fine. Instagram Live will cut out in an hour. Well, not in an hour, but at 7 it will cut out, and then I'll just log back on again, because IGTV only goes for an hour. So some of these tutorials are just in 2 parts, depending on how long we go for. So roll it out. Mine's getting a little bit uneven, but that is okay. We love wonky. I cannot wait to see your photos of this, by the way. I'm already over the moon. Please share them with me. It actually lights up my life. Makes me feel very connected to what you're doing. You might notice as well that this one is obviously a finished product, so it's got the speckle. You can see it's got the speckle glaze. Some people have been making the mistake of using their glaze before they've actually fired their shape. Don't do that. I've got instructions in the how-to section and the frequently asked questions section, both on the website and on Instagram, on how to actually glaze your works and what to do next. Please don't glaze your works after you have just made them out of mud. They're still greenware. Greenware is basically pre-kiln mud, so exactly what your shapes are going to be after tonight until you've fired them in a kiln. So we want to make sure that you're only glazing your works after you've popped your buns in the oven. and you can't use your own oven at home because this is mid-fire clay. It's a BRT. It's got a trachyte in it, and a trachyte is just that fleck that I love. So you want, it has to be fired at over 1,000 degrees. So unless you've got like some crazy industrial oven that, you know, fires at that temperature, I don't know what food you're making, but you're not going to get the result that you need. So you do need a kiln. So I'm pretty happy with that coil, I think. That's all right, isn't it? That's okay. Can I ask, Lucy, how your coil is going now? How you finding your coils? Is everyone doing okay? Can I have a thumbs up for people that are up to the point that I am? I don't want to go too fast, you know. I want to make it easy for you guys. Just a thumbs up. Oh, I'm running a bit low. Excellent. You guys are amazing. I'm just going to top up my my beverage. Perfect. Millie's doing an exclamation mark. Okay. All right. So now what we're doing with this coil is I'm actually going to look at how much I need, so what length I need it at, and once again I can use awesome guys. Maybe okay, I need a bit of paste. Yep, I think you need a bit of paste. So like I mentioned, if anything's kind of breaking or cracking, you just want to either use your finger. If it's just a little hairline fracture, just use your finger just to mold that back together. If it's splitting apart completely, what you want to do is you want to score both edges, and you want to use a bit of your glue, and then you want to pull that shape back together. Groovy. So that's really normal for that to happen with a lot of things that you're making, depending on the consistency of your shape of your clay. So what I'm doing now, I'm not going to cut it right here because that's not going to be long enough for me. I'm cutting it just ever so slightly over what I need, and I'm also pressing it a little bit into the bottom there, so ever so slightly over what I need. That's great. So as you can see here, that is the tiniest bit over what I need. Because sorry to interrupt, thanks for the clay, that's okay, my darling. I got really confused because it wasn't you that came to get the clay. I think it was, you know, your boyfriend or your brother or something. So it was this random person asking for clay, and I was like, who are you? Quite funny, quite comical. So as you can see, I'm actually going to be pressing this down eventually, and I'm going to be merging it into the base here. But before I do that, I'm going to cut the same size as what I have here, the same size coil or sausage as what I have here, into what I have, the coil that I've made, so that I can make sure that I'm getting everything I can out of the coil that I've made. So I've got 3 there, and I'm actually going to want 6. So when you're doing this, you are going to want to kind of mark out, well, that one's quite long actually, I'll cut that a bit more, but you are going to want to mark out where you're putting your coils. Okay, so this one I can probably merge this into a coil, a longer coil. Great. I'm over the moon to spend my Friday night with you guys, by the way. Thanks for coming. And we're all going to have some beautiful holy bowls. And how cute, in like 10 years time or whatever, you can look at your holy bowl that you made in isolation and just, you know, think back to what a nice time we had tonight. So I don't know if you guys are going for 6 or if you're going for 7 coils. I'm not really sure what I'm going to go for yet. This one's a little bit thicker So I'm just going to boil this one down the tiniest bit and recut that. So no one's going to die if one of the coils is a bit thicker than the other, but you know, just aesthetically, up to you. But you might want them relatively similar size. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, look, I'm only going to want 6. I don't know how many you guys are going to want, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to need 2 more coils. So I'm going to grab a bit more of my clay and I'm just going to roll out a couple more coils for my shape. So to do that, I'm just going to kind of do what we did to begin with and pop that into that sort of cylinder shape, and then I'm going to start from the middle like I do with every coil that I make, and just start in the middle and then gently pull it out. Just like that. I hope you guys are enjoying the playlist. I hope you're listening to it. I can't listen because then it would muck up what you're listening to. But I can feel it through the screen. Good vibes. Now, if you get any of this on your clothes or whatever, it'll wash out. Don't worry about it. No worries. Now, I have a feeling that, yeah, we've only got 8 minutes to go, so I'm just warning you guys this is going to cut out in 8 minutes and then just hop back on. I will just start it all over again, okay? So it might take me like 30 seconds or something, but I'll just start it all over again and then we'll keep going as a fam. I mentioned before that this might be the last isolation that I'm doing because we might go back to face. So I'm not too sure on that at the moment, but I will have updates happening on the gram as soon as I know what I'm doing. But it's been fun. It's been real nice times. So as you're rolling out your sausage, again, you just want to kind of make it a similar size. And you know what? I've actually got heaps of clay left, so I could make, you know, I probably couldn't make another one of these, or I could, it'd be tiny, but I could probably make like a little cup, cute little sip cup out of my clay that I have left. And some of you might be going rogue with what you're making, and I love that. All right, once again, I've got kind of enough here. Been handy for me as I live in Tassie. Awesome. Sorry to interrupt, thanks for the clay. Keely, what's the no for, my love? Maybe okay, used a bit of paste. Awesome. Keely, what's the no for? Or is that because it might be the last isolation? Or is your shape becoming ruined? What's going on? I'm stressed. I love that you live in Tassie and you're tuning in. That's awesome. So once again, I'm taking one of these little guys. No more isolation. I might do one more. I might do just one more for people that couldn't do this one. Whoa, she's windy tonight. But yeah, that might be it. We'll see. It's totally dependent on demand and what people are needing and what people are wanting. But I will be doing face to face because I love ya. Okay. So, I mean, I've got quite a coil there, so I can choose whether I want to do 6 or whether I want to do 7. It's just going to be based on aesthetically what I feel like. But, I mean, so you can see here, I've just by eye, I haven't measured or anything like that because I can't be bothered. Just figuring out where I'm placing my little sausages. Yeah, that seems okay, don't you reckon? Seems alright. I live in bread, loving your truths. I'm so glad. No worries, my love. That's absolutely fine. You know, if people really, really want to continue doing it, I will continue doing it. Because I do love it. It's just so long as people want to keep doing it, you know? So you can see here, I've just measured out where these guys are going to go. And mine are actually a little bit too long. So I'm just going to snip off little bits of each. Because I don't want too much on the bottom, or it's going to make my shape probably a little bit uneven, the bowl a little bit uneven when I'm trying to set it down. So you can see here, all I've done is placed them. I haven't joined them yet, but you can see that they're just ever so slightly longer than what is at the base here. Okie dokie. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually going to start to join these, and I'm going to join the bottom with the base to begin with. So the way I do that is exactly the way we always join. I'm going to just score this, and I'm also going to score the section that I'm trying to join as well. So I'm going to grab some of my paste, some of my butter, and I'm going to pop that at my join. So these joins are super important, by the way, because this is a really, really, really delicate bowl that you're making. So what I'm doing is I'm getting that, I'm pressing it. I'm using a bit of force to press that. I'm pressing that into the join. Really pressing that because I want these two shapes to lock together to start with, and then I'm actually going to use this little guy here, or you can use your spoon, whatever you're using, to actually start to join that shape. So as you can see here, I'm just joining that, and once again, like what I mentioned before, I can only join what I can see. So that's the reason that we're actually going to be waiting until tomorrow to flip the shape, take the bowl out, and then you're going to be joining the rest. It's going to be a little bit more solid, the clay, but that's a good thing. So I'm going to join that as best I can using what I have. And I'm going to use my finger to make that a little bit, and I might want a bit of water on my finger, but I'm just going to use that to make it a bit smoother to the touch, you know. So you're going to want to repeat that all the way around your bowl, your holy bowl. I'll show you. Oh, shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. So you can see I've joined that. You want to continue that all the way around, and you want to make damn sure that you're doing your lock method, which is with your knife or with your scoring tool. So we just want to continue that all the way around. Now we're about to cut out as well. It's 6:59. It's going to cut out after an hour. So just log right back on. Log right back on after this. Okay. So we'll just continue doing that method on both sides. So not just this one, but also the other one as well. Both edges rather. Make them porous. Bit of slip, as per usual. Not too much. You don't need too much. You just need a good amount of glue. So a good amount of slip is about that much for those joints, depending on how big your bowl is. Mine's just a medium guy. So again, I use a bit of force with my fingers to press that into the bottom of my shape, because I really don't want him to die. later and just be